Hello, welcome to Liz Rocks and Stuff. This is Liz, and I'm gonna first tell you a little bit about my setup since this is my first video. In the winter time, I don't have access to any water outside, so this is my inside station for rinsing my rocks and changing them over. So this is a sink. It's not a workshop sink like some use, and it does actually connect into our plumbing. So that's why I have this plug in the sink to keep any of my grits from going into the plumbing and messing them all up. On top of that, I have a pot that fits into the sink, and then I also have this colander that fits into the pot. So I will pour all of my rocks into there, rinse them out into the pot, and then once I get everything done, I will take that slurry outside and I will pour it somewhere outside so that it doesn't get into our plumbing. It is perfectly safe for it to go into the outside. It is not going to harm the grass or any of the animals that we have. So that's my setup. So now that we've gotten through that, I'm gonna start opening up my barrels. Okay, barrel number one. This is my smallest barrel. This is a 1 pound barrel, and in here is some quartz. This quartz has gone through stage 1. This is, I don't know, maybe it's second or third week. So I'm gonna get these rinsed out. And this is like the worst faucet, and that's why I have the drain in there. I tend to get a little messy in here. So I'm going to rinse all these out. And now I'm going to go through and see if any of these are ready to go into stage 2. So we'll pull out a couple of these to show you. So this is just a bit of quartz. This should all be quartz or something in that hardness. So this still has some rough spots right there. So that's going to go back into the barrel for another week in stage 1. This one too. I don't know if that's ever going to grind out, but we'll see. But it still has a lot of roughness there. So we're going to go put that back. This, I might try to break this one. It doesn't look like that crack goes all the way through, so I probably can't really break that easily. And I don't have a saw, so I'm kind of limited into what I can do. So this one does have a crack, goes most of the way through, but not all the way. We'll just try and grind that out some more. Again, I'm just going to go through all of these really quick. I'm thinking most of these are going to need to go through stage 1 some more. And this is just a mixed bag of quartz. For anybody that's new, oh, this one's good. It's got a little rough spot right there, but I can live with that. I don't like my rocks to be 100% perfect. So what I do with my rocks that are ready to go on to stage 2 is I have some cups that I keep to the side here. I keep water in them. It's not necessary so much between stage 1 and 2, but I do like to keep my rocks wet. So these are all kind of my quartzy, more hard rocks that are ready to go into stage 2. I have another one here. This is from the next barrel, so I'll show you what those look like. But anything that's ready to go to stage 2, I just kind of put over in that cup of water, and I keep them until they are, keep them there until they are, there's enough to do a whole batch. So this is really rough. I don't know what this is. This might have been something I got out of my rock bed outside. We have a bunch of river rock outside that I like to get rocks from every now and then when I'm out there and I see something kind of cool. Then a lot of those, once they're all polished, I'll put them back out in my rock bed. So I have some, shiny rocks out in my river rock bed. And these are obviously amethyst, these purple ones. That's really rough. I don't know if this one's gonna polish up because it feels very rough. A lot more rough than I feel like it should. But we'll see. This one's a cool looking rock. I'm not sure what that is. I'll have to look that up. I think this is a chip. I had to break one of these. So there's some chips in here, and I'll keep the chips. So now you can see that this barrel is not very full. So I'll show you what I'm going to do with that once I go through all 3 of my barrels. Okay, barrel number 2 has some very interesting looking slurry. This is called Dragon Bloodstone. It is similar to regular Bloodstone, but not quite the same. It is a different rock, but I think it's supposed to be similar to it. So it's actually really pretty. So we'll get these all rinsed off so you can kind of see. And that's not everything. There are some other rocks in here, as you can tell. So I'll get this rinsed off and kind of go through it. So this big piece actually came out of my river rock bed. I saw it. It was pure white when I pulled it out, and I wanted to see what it would look like if I tumbled it. It has lost a lot of mass. You can see there's a lot of grit kind of stuck down in there. Now, at this stage, you don't have to worry about getting the grit out. You only need to worry about it once you're moving it to stage 2, but that's an awful lot. So I'm going to take my toothbrush and kind of scrub down in there, try and get some of that out. Now, my ultimate goal is to get that smooth, so eventually that will all work its way out. But for now, I'm just going to kind of get as much of it out as I can. So that's going in for more. This is obviously not Dragon Bloodstone. This is some lace agate, which is a little weird. I think I might need to come in and break this piece off because it's not going to get smooth down in there, but I might keep it that way and see how it goes. Still got a long way to go. This is also a different type of rock. I'm not sure what this is, but we'll see. And then this is another piece that came from a box of mixed rocks. It's got a long way to go because all those holes are going to need to come out. But that's looking actually kind of neat. I like the little white bands on it. And the rest of this, except maybe that, I think this is desert jasper. I could be wrong on that. I am not an expert at rocks. I've only been doing this for a few months, but that's actually really pretty rock. You can see the light coming through it. The rest of these should be dragon blood. This might be another piece of jasper. I'm not sure. But you can see this is the Dragon Bloodstone. So it's got this green and kind of dark maroonish color kind of modeled throughout. So I'm going to feel these, see if they need any additional tumbling. This one's actually pretty good. So I've got a bucket over here of the stage, ready for stage 2, Dragon Bloodstone. Oh, here's this. This is, I think, also Dragon Bloodstone, but it's just more of a dark green in the red, and that I think is ready. Just feeling these up, you can see that's kind of still pretty rough, so we'll put that in. That one's feeling really good. Those are feeling pretty good. That, I think I want to get that bit out a little more. That's got a long way to go there. We'll just pick through these. Now you'll notice this barrel was a little bigger than my last one. I have one 1-pound barrel. That's in my National Geographic hobby tumbler. That was my first tumbler that I got just a few months ago. And then I have 2 3-pound barrels and my Lortone 33B that I just got maybe a month ago. So this has been a quickly growing hobby for me. I'm very much enjoying it, and I'm just wanting to share kind of my adventures because I have some ideas of some experiments I want to do. And we'll see how that goes. How, you know, somebody that doesn't know what they're doing, trying to do something really cool. All right, so a lot of those went into stage 2. but we still have a lot in here. You can see this barrel is not nearly full enough, so what I think I might do is take what's in my 1-pound barrel, those quartz over there, and add them into this and see where we are at that stage. So we're just gonna put this in here. And that looks a lot better. Now these are all similar hardness, right around 7, 6.5, 7. So these are okay to tumble together, as far as I know. The ones that I don't know what they are, then I'm not upset if they get too tumbled away. So, I mean, that could take a little bit more rock. I'm gonna see if I've got any more rough rock that would go in here. I'll be right back. I do have some more rocks that are of similar hardness. These are also mixed rocks. Not 100% sure what these are, but I can put a couple of them in here. So I'm gonna put a couple in here and see how they do. I think that's probably good. All right, so what we're gonna do now, we're gonna fill this with water, and then get my grits. So stage 1 grit is 2 tablespoons per pound. I don't know exactly how much rock is in here, but it's probably at least 3 pounds. And this is a 2 tablespoon scoop. So we're gonna put 3 of these in there. So it's 1, 2, 3. All right, now that barrel just needs its top on it and it's ready to go for another week in stage 1. Now what I do is, let's put the lid on. And then we'll put, upside down. There we go. And now you'll notice that I actually write on these lids what's in it and what stage it's at. So I can read that even if you can't. That says Dragon Bloodstone stage 1. And we've added the quartz to this, so I'll say and quartz. Now a lot of people will not tumble their quartz and their crystals with their regular rocks. I do, because I do. And that's a personal choice in my opinion. Some people might not agree with that, but that is what it is. All right, my 3rd barrel is my current experiment. I think I'm gonna start another one this week. This is just to see if I can do this. This is a giant chunk of Trolleite. And there's some other rocks in here, but they're just in there for cushioning and to help push the slurry and the grit around. But the main thing in here is this giant rock right there. So we're gonna pour this out. So that blue rock right there is the one that I'm really trying to get. You can see there's still a lot of grit down in the bottom. I'm gonna leave that. I'm not actually gonna clean this out because there's still some usable grit down there, and it's mostly because there's not a lot of tumbling action with a giant rock like that in this barrel. So I might just rinse this out just a tiny bit around the edges, because you don't want to have grit around the edge there. Yeah. So this is the rock. It hasn't lost a lot of its mass, but it's pretty big. It barely fits in the tumbler, but it's got a lot more of ways to go. So I'm going to set that to the side for a second. I'm going to rinse off this lid. Now, just to make sure this is sealing properly, I'm going to get my toothbrush and just kind of brush the edges of the lid. I didn't do this on the other ones because they weren't that bad, and I'm not as concerned about them right now. I'm just going to clean the edges of this. There's a rock stuck to the bottom in here. I'm trying to kind of get it out. there is a lot of my grit still in the bottom here. So it's all still usable. This is probably going to be a very long tumble, at least in stage 1 with this rock, because of how big it is and the fact that there's not a whole lot of room for it to tumble. So what I'm going to do is I have to put the rock in first, because if I put anything else in first, it won't fit. You can see that that is taking up an awful lot of room, and I think I need to put it in this way. That's better. And then these rocks were in purely just to help tumble, because you need rocks of a lot of sizes to help with the tumbling action. I'm going to put these in here, and these are just rocks from my rock bed that I don't care about. They can tumble away into nothing, and I will not care. So I've got some more up here that I keep just for this purpose, so I'm going to throw these some more in here, try and help get some more tumbling going on. Alright, so now that's much more full. We're going to put in some water. That might be too much water, but now we're going to take my stage 1 grit, and there's some grit still in there from the last time. This is only a 1 pound rock, so I'm just going to put 1 scoop in there. You do want to count your other rocks, and that weight, and it's not an exact science. It's just kind of a guideline. So with there still being some usable grit in there, I'm just going to put 1 scoop, and then I'm going to button this up, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do now that I have an empty barrel. Okay, since I combined my 1 pound, what was left in there, with one of my 3 pounds, I now have a barrel that needs something in it. I am going to thoroughly clean this out. You can still, there's still some grit in there. So I'll be right back after I get this a lot more clean, and you'll see why in just a second. All right, that's a lot more clean. Now, normally, since what came out of here was from stage 1, and what you would usually be doing if you started a new batch was going into stage 1 again, that wouldn't normally be an issue for me to have needed to clean this out. But this is an experiment, and it's not something I can find anybody that has done it. So if anybody's watching this and has tried this, please let me know, because I couldn't find anybody that had. So what I have is a bunch of this. This just looks like a rock. This is amber. Amber is very soft. This is actually very light. And you don't typically tumble amber. Most people would say don't tumble amber. In fact, if you want to polish it, you should do it by hand on a grinder. I don't have a grinder. But some people said it is possible to tumble amber if you, 1, started in stage 2, and 2, use plastic media instead of ceramic or other rocks. So this is what I'm going to start with, and give me a second while I fill up this barrel. I have a lot of amber. I have about 1 pound. But you can see some of these chunks are quite large. So this one's actually really big. I'm not going to put anything else this big in this barrel, because you want a variety of sizes, and this is not a very large barrel. So I think that is probably enough. Put 1 more in there. So that's that. And the other thing, I don't have plastic media. I haven't bought any. This is the grit that I use. This is just the bottle of it. But in here, one of my other things that I like to do is cast resin. And when you cast resin and you're new at it, you mess up a lot. You get some bubbles. You get things that you don't like. So what I have done is I've taken some of those, and I have cut them up into little squares. And I'm going to try using these as tumbling media. I asked around in some rock forums, and nobody could find somebody that had ever used resin scraps as tumbling media. So I'm just going to put Not too many in there, that's probably too much, but you do want a little bit more of a full barrel because you don't want too much action with this amber. So now I'm going to put some water in here. All right, so there's water in there now, and then I'm going to put stage 2 grit. So stage 2 grit is also 2 tablespoons per pound. I only have a 1 tablespoon scoop for this, but I'm going to put 2 in here. I don't want to be too aggressive with this amber. And I'm also not going to tumble it for a whole week. The other thing people were saying is just tumble it for about 3 days at a time. And then check it and move it along if you want. So this is going to go into stage 2 for about 3 days. I will probably post this video soon before I actually go through those 3 days. So the next video will show you what this looked like at that 3-day mark. All right, so these are my 3 barrels. There's the amber in stage 2, the Trolleite in stage 1, and the Dragonstone and Quartz in stage 1. I'm going to go put these on the tumbler, and thank you for watching, and I hope to see you back for my next video. Bye!